Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a good Tuesday wherever we are around the world. Welcome back to a bit of a different video for you guys this evening. Of course, we're going to discuss and talk around an article that was reported last night. Of course, from what you guys are watching anyway, about Rio Ngumoha, Richard Hughes, and Arne Slot. Now, it did go into a bit of detail about why potentially Rio Ngumoha is not playing and not potentially featured as much as what we would like. I think plenty of us in the summer thought he would be the breakout star of the season for us, especially with us losing the likes of Luis Diaz in the summer as well. But that hasn't been the case, and we might now know a bit of reasoning behind it as well. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments on everything we do mention in tonight's episode. Hopefully all of you are good and well as well, but obviously pick up saying evening as well. But yeah, let's just dive straight into it. So again, I will say it off the bat, do take it with a pinch of salt, but again, the person who wrote the article is a very decent and very reliable person. But this is why it was on Anfield Watch, and it is this article that did cause a bit of stir late last night on Twitter, especially, but mainly on the whole social media front. Of course, it does go on to say that Arne Slot ignites Liverpool's civil war over Richard Hughes clash. So what it does go on to say, as you guys can read along with me, as it has gone to say that Arne Slot ignited a civil war in the summer over Liverpool's transfer policy. The Dutchman's job is not safe by any stretch of the imagination at Anfield, and Slot may have gone 9 games unbeaten, leading Liverpool's obviously to the visit of the Emirates later this week, which is on Thursday. Is also going to say performances have been poor. Draws with Fulham, Leeds, and Sunderland have been disappointing. Even the wins have been narrow and have come through great struggle. Again, you guys can read that if you'd like. That's the useless information part of this article. But it is going to say, but the issues are deeper at Anfield than just performances. It is going to say on the pitch, Liverpool's hierarchy have a very specific idea of not only how they want the club to play, but how they want the club to be run by their head coach. It also goes on to say that over the summer, Hughes and his recruitment team were very keen on Rio Ngumoha and Trainioni to be given bigger roles at the first team level following impressive performances in pre-season. It does also go on to say that Ngumoha has just had 5 goal contributions in 5 games. Trainioni had also caught the eye in previous seasons under Jurgen Klopp in the same kind of performances, would have led to more first-team opportunities during the regular campaign. Stefan Bajcetic and Jarell Konza and many others have benefited from Klopp rewarding them after a strong pre-season, but Arne Slot is not of the same mindset. He wanted Liverpool to loan Rio Ngumoha after Luis Diaz was sold and pushed the Reds to pursue a move for either Bradley Barcola or Malik Fofana. During the heated clash, Anfield Watch understands that Hughes refused to give in to Slot's demands and informed the club's head coach that he would have to play Rio Ngumoha and give him regular opportunities in the first team. This has been a source of contention between the hierarchy and Slot ever since. The Dutchman has neglected to use Rio Ngumoha on a regular basis, despite insistence from Hughes and others. The club's hierarchy has made it clear they expect academy players to be given integration into the first team setup. Slot insists he needs players for now and has little interest in working with the club's academy stars, nor to try and develop them. It's a stark contrast to Klopp and has created a civil war within the walls of the AXA training center. Now, you guys can go and read more about this. It does go on to talk about, I think, obviously the summer and, of course, where Liverpool are as well. Again, as you guys can obviously go and see. I think the big one straight off the bat, and we're going to talk about it, of course, because again, it's a big part of the article, and it's a big part of the conversation around Rio at the minute. Now, when Arne Slot joined Liverpool, when he first joined Liverpool, the whole conversation was, I'm going to develop youth, do the same as what Klopp did, also do what he's done at Feyenoord, and try and obviously develop young talent, break them through, and obviously develop them, obviously adding with the first team as well. And since Arne Slot's come in, we've not really seen it. Yes, we've seen players obviously brought in and been given some sort of an opportunity. Again, Rio Ngumoha last season in the FA Cup, that was a big opportunity for Rio. Again, Trainioni, another one who, again, was given an opportunity in a few small spells of last season. But this season, I think all of us had high expectations, like I mentioned, for the Rio Ngumohas, for the Trainionis, but we've not seen it. And look, Liverpool have had injury problems this season. We've had, other problems as well, but we've not, for how poor our forward line has been this season, and then how poor certain, positions have been, especially with that left-hand side only realistically having Cody Gakpo out on there, of course, and having obviously Florian Wirtz now shift over to there. But there is a big problem currently at the football club where we are not seeing development at all. And again, there's conversations, there's talks around the likes of Rio Ngumoha. There's talks of, fringe players like Federico Chiesa, Trainioni as well, who are going to be in conversation around leaving the football club, or either on loan or a permanent move because they're not getting game time. Arne Slot's been very clear what his favoured players are. And again, we've all joked about it this season in particular of, well, Arne Slot would play Cody Gakpo on the left if it was the better, the greatest Liverpool team of all time, which again, Cody Gakpo gets nowhere near. And it probably is a bit of frustration because again, people, I've seen people try and debunk the article, and look, I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100% true because none of us know. None of us know really anything until again the club officially come out and say something. But the one thing I will say is, if you guys cast your mind back to the last couple of weeks of the window before we signed Alexander Isak, and it was about 2 weeks before the window closed, and we all got that brief of, oh, Liverpool might now switch their attention to Bradley Barcola. And all of us was kind of confused at the time because, again, all of us wanted to sign Alexander Isak. Obviously, all summer long, it'd been conversations and talks around Alexander Isak joining Liverpool. And then we get the switch up to Bradley Barcola, which made sense at the time. Again, somebody who can play as a striker, can play on the left as well. Of course, we needed to replace Luis Diaz as well because we didn't replace him. But we were told at the time, with us going after Alexander Isak, that again, it would be Cody on the left, and of course, it would be Rio. Rio would be given opportunities in the first half of the season to, again, allow himself to flourish on the left-hand side when Cody couldn't. And again, we got sold a dream, really. Again, the Newcastle game away from home, Rio Ngumoha comes on the pitch and scores the winner for Liverpool in a really, really good goal. I think all of us at the time thought, right, it's the, that is the moment where a star is born. It's an opportunity now where he can go and flourish and, challenge Cody Gakpo on our left-hand side. And we haven't seen it since. I was looking just off camera now, and he's only played, as I got on my notes on my phone, he's only played 79 minutes in the Premier League this season. He's got 13 minutes per game so far this year, and that's not good enough. And I kind of agreed with what Anfield Rap had to say as well. After they, I listened to Anfield Rap after their assessment of the Fulham game, and Arne Slot has conned a lot of us into thinking that we don't have forwards at the club at the minute. Again, we've all said it, like, oh, Liverpool need a winger, Liverpool needs, this in the transfer market potentially to obviously help at the moment. And we've kind of been conned, really, because Liverpool don't have one forward. Again, if you listen to Arne Slot's very vocal of, oh, we only have one forward in at the moment. No, we don't. We have 3. We have Rio Ngumoha, we have Cody Gakpo, and you have Federico Chiesa. Not only, again, the academy players that we're not even thinking about at the moment. That's just, again, first team, you have 3 players below. So again, there's no excuses to not have pace on the pitch. Again, you have plenty of pace in them 3 alone. Again, you could play Cody as a striker for now, while Ekatike is not available because he's injured, because he had to play so much. But again, Arne Slot convinced us, or at least tried to convince people, that Liverpool only have 1 foot forward at the minute, and this is why we're playing McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, pretty much all of our midfielders at the same time. And I personally think this news has come out now because it's the writing on the wall. Like I've said to you guys after the game midweek, I think Slot will leave. I think he will go at the end of the season. Personally, look, and of course with all the rumours coming out around Luis Enrique, Liverpool will be swinging on that door and trying to hope that they can, get him in the door, really. But I think this is big news coming out from the club. If the article is true, again, like I said, we don't really know. But if this is the first kind of inklings that we're getting, because again, there was also an attachment to the rumors that the academy put together a game so that obviously the first team coaches can come and watch them, and Arne Slot didn't turn up. He didn't come to watch any of the academy players. Where again, I think in the previous regime, I believe Klopp, even James Milner would turn up, and watch the academy boys, and obviously report back to Jurgen or again whoever they spoke to within the first team, and go like, oh, this is the kid, because I think it was when we just signed Harvey. I think James Milner was going on about when Harvey Elliott first joined the club. And I think he played an academy game behind closed doors. And again, James Milner was very impressed by that. So when you look at it, that's damaging by itself. But then again, when you go back and look at all the quotes and look at everything, a couple of months, well over 18 months ago now, since Arne Slot got approached or become Liverpool manager, everything he said in his first few interviews, it's not true. It's not real. Really, and it's laughable, now when you actually think about it and sit back and look at it, of course. But if there is a civil war in the football club, of course the hierarchy are going to choose themselves. Of course, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, they are the 2 that FSG did so much to try and bring them into the club and try and obviously get them away from everyone else. Teams like Chelsea, Manchester United as well, I think, looking at Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes at the time. But again, Liverpool, FSG did their best to get them in, and them 2 now are running football operations. And of course, they will make the calls and the shots. But look, there might be the conversation in the summer, even before that they might get rid of Slot as well, because in an ideal world, Liverpool don't want to spend another £100 million on one player, which, if Bradley Barcola is available, PSG as well, I know he'll have 1 year left on his contract in the summer. It's a big possibility that Liverpool do go and try at the door at Bradley Barcola or Malik Fofana, of course, because Malik Fofana is a really good talent. But again, you kind of look at that and go, why would we sign a talent when you've got one already at your club? Because I think with Bradley Barcola, it's different because, again, he's been a part of a Champions League winning squad. He's done very well at PSG. Of course, at the minute, again, it's a toss-up between does he get into PSG's front 3, really. But if there is the possibility that Liverpool can get Luis Enrique in the summer, if he is seeking that new challenge that was being reported all day, then, again, Liverpool might try their best to get Enrique and Bradley Barcola in the door. But again, that's all if, buts, and maybes at the moment anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts anyway on the whole Rio Ngumoha stuff. Do you think it's true, first of all? And do you think the club, do you think, again, there has been a bust-up between Slot and Richard Hughes? Because, again, I would say there is a big possibility it is true as well. But what else we have? I'm going to check. I've pinged for a quick sec. But how are we, chat? Evening, Mark, as well, saying, how are you guys doing? Very good, thank you. Hopefully doing well, Mark. That's good. Even the snow has, yeah, it has, unfortunately. To be fair, it's back Thursday for me, so yeah, it's gonna be horrible trying to get out the door. But I still feel Edwards is a major issue at Liverpool. Oh, we still have some snow as well, says Mark. As well, I know you're not a fan of Michael Edwards. It's difficult to improve fringe players when we struggle with the first 11 for 90 minutes. Yeah, true. That is very true. So I'm with Slot keeping with his best 11. I think you can keep to your best 11, but I'm kind of still like, use your team, use your squads, because at the minute, look, we've said it for weeks. Like, again, watching Liverpool this season, use your players. Again. This is the most frustrating thing with Arne Slot this season. What game was it? Leeds at home. He went in the press conference after the game and spoke about how you break down a low block. But then everything we did in the game wasn't to break down a low block. And that's the real frustrating thing this season, where he's saying the right thing, but not doing the right thing. But yeah, it's laughable. It's a no-win situation. You lose with fringe players, and it's down to playing fringe players as well. Well, to be fair, again, I wouldn't say Rio is a fringe player. Use him. He's a talent. There's a reason why Chelsea's academy was so against us getting him. And the fact they've tried to, I think they are going to get, going to go to court with Liverpool over him as well. I think that's the one, isn't it, at the minute? But Salah misses the ball from Trent. We don't have a player that can whip him these balls in. Yeah, true. Yeah, look, we missed Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's no hiding that fact. We said it for weeks now, months. And we probably signed the wrong right back. We tried to replace Trent's creativity with Florian Wirtz and try to go that way. But that would make sense if we're going to try and build up with Florian Wirtz, and we don't do that enough. We try and build up the same type of way that we've done over the last, since Slot's been manager. And yeah, it's not good enough. Like, realistically, Liverpool, when you look at the aggregate of what type of right backs could offer you similar towards Trent, there's only two really that I think come up in terms of the data. One was Pedro Porro, which, again, defensively, Pedro Porro is horrific, but going forward would offer you something similar. Wouldn't offer you, directly the same thing, because again, nobody can match Trent's ability on the ball. But in terms of trying to, get something that's similar, again, he would have been perfect. Or if you're going to go and sign the next best talent, Guevara Reed from Vinod, and that's obviously, it's funny enough for me to say, like, oh, we'll go to the Eredivisie and sign a right back, but still, everyone's talking about Guevara Reed, about his ball playing ability. Again, Liverpool should be all over that, but they haven't been. And the most likely situation, we're not going to be either. Unless, of course, Liverpool plan on selling one of our right backs, which is highly unlikely as well. But hello, Rai, as well, saying all the talk of managers to bring in. Slot is great, fellas. Slot in. Didn't you get battered by Thiago at the Hill Dickinson? Like, I don't want to hear it off you, but hopefully you're good, Rai. As well. To be fair, Scholes was at that game as well, which, again, I hope you and Scholes saw each other after the game. Anyway, but anyone know how Darwin Núñez is doing this season? I will tell you now what Darwin Núñez is doing this season. I know he scored 2 goals in the last game for Al Hilal. Hang on a minute. Darwin Núñez. Where is he? Darwin Núñez season statistics. Saudi Pro League games, 9 games played, 5 goals, 3 assists for Darwin this season. And look, Darwin wasn't the problem. No, I'm kidding. But look, I'm happy Darwin's doing good as well. And again, there's even talk of him coming back to Europe, which look, is I hope he does, because again, like I said, I think he is in the Prem, didn't work out. I think, look, Serie A, La Liga, I think Darwin Núñez would still be fine. Really. Yeah, I'd keep Slot. The guy talks so well. In fact, he seems to give so much information, which is a bad thing at times. Look, I do like the way Arne Slot talks at times, but look, what has transpired this season, you can't be doing certain things that he is doing. Really, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, Mark says how it's going. Right, no one's better than Slot at the moment. True. The thing is, I get battered for saying that, right? And he's probably not watching, but Ricky will batter me every time I say that there's nobody better than Slot, and there's not at the minute. People can go, "Oh, could get an interim at the minute." Look, the club ideally, right? They still believe Slot can deliver Champions League football. That's the aim, And look, it is. I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, the league's still possible." If we beat Arsenal, no, shut up. Like it's top four, I think, for Liverpool this season, unless Liverpool somehow win the Champions League, which. We've done that before with a terrible team. And this team's better than that team on paper, at least, anyway. But the ideal world is us getting top four. Now, with Chelsea sacking their manager and obviously Manchester United doing Manchester United stuff and obviously getting rid of Ruben Amorim, Liverpool will be looking at it now and going, look, there is an opportunity for us to obviously bridge that gap. But what I would also say to that is we have had opportunities in this, in this run that we've had, or this unbeaten run, because it's not really an unbeaten run. It's a miserable unbeaten run. Let's not lie about it. That we've missed opportunities. Again, both games against Leeds is 4 extra points per there. The Sunderland game at home, Sunderland are a very good team, by the way. But still, Liverpool should have won that game, or should have at least attempted to win that game. Let's be honest, we were lucky not to throw away the draw. But there is points missed, really, and working it all out. Again, we'd be around where Man City is at the minute with the results they've had, the results we potentially could have got. We'd be in the conversation around Villa and City, and that's a different aspect of it. Where you could go, all right, we've had a terrible start to the season. Look, we've managed to fix it, and then we can, we're going to push on now and get a strong grip on top four. That'd be fair. That would be fair enough. Again, wouldn't be as disheartened by that. But every game that we watch, at the moment, it's horrific. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And look, it's not going to change. Like Thursday, I'm not looking forward to Thursday. I've said that to you guys. And at the minute, Slot, we say he changed things. He changed things for 3 or 4 games, and now he's gone back to the 4-2-1-3 or 4-2-3-1. It's realistically, if you're going to stick and change to a formation, stick to it. We looked miles better, like Inter Milan. Like we played probably the best football we've played all season against Inter Milan away from home. But yeah, that's just annoying at the minute of how different and annoying it is. But Big Opposed on as well, saying Slot can still win us the league and the Champions League. No. Like, again, Champions League, you never know because, again, it's a knockout tournament. But yeah, it's never over until mathematically. Yeah, Ozan get in the bin. Like, we're not in contention for that at all. Does Slot have the pick of all Liverpool male players, though? Yeah, I would say so anyway. I don't know whether or not anyone else would disagree or agree with that. How you doing, Ozan, as well? Ryan says, we've got a winger on our fringes who could help. Goes by the name of Dwight McMessy. Jesus Christ. To use him, he might be that. To us, yeah, no thank you. Anyway, but look, what else do we have? But saying Slot isn't using the players, or is he is helping the main squad clicks, though? Yeah, that's true. But again, the one thing I would say with that, Mark, is the first team should be clicking by now. And if it's not clicking, you change it, and you give people opportunities. Like, for example, the biggest one for that is Andy Robertson, in his time at the club. Again, he was brought in from Hull. He played 1 game against Crystal Palace. Klopp then took him out for 6 months. And again, we don't know how Jurgen Klopp, did it with certain players. Again, did the same with Robbo, did the same with Fabinho. Maybe Arne Slot should have done that with Kirkers, and give him time to, adjust for now while he's also still got Robbo at the club. But look at Robbo's situation. He wasn't playing for 6 months at the club. We just bought him from Hull, wasn't playing. Alberto Moreno was our left back for half a season. He then gets injured in the Champions League. Andy Robertson comes in and doesn't look backwards, went straight forward, and the rest is history with Robbo. And again, you never know that could happen with a player like a Rio, or a Trainioni. Again, I would say a Federico Chiesa, but again, we all know Chiesa's not gonna, kickstart and start week in, week out for Liverpool. But you guys know what I mean. Again, you never know who could just take their opportunity and run away with it, and saying like, oh, again, he knows his first 11. He does. We know this from last season. It was copy and paste last season. We knew Liverpool starting 11 before we came out, and that was okay because we were winning the league and we were winning games. But this is the whole reason why we sold and why we made changes, was because we tried to be a bit more unpredictable. When you've got Szoboszlai, Wirtz, McAllister, Gravenberch, Jones, like that midfield in particular, again, kind of how the midfield under Jurgen Klopp was. Yes, the main midfield would be Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Jordan Henderson. But at times you could drop one of the three and play Shaqiri and go to a 2-3, or you could play a Naby Keita, Curtis Jones coming into the team. Like again, you could change a few things. And in my opinion, that's what we tried to do, and it's not worked to the best of its ability at the moment, anyway. But listen, that Thiago is 2026 R9, and Tarkowski is playing like he's never played footy in his life as well. Only plays football right when it's a Merseyside derby. I will say that to the day I die. Tarkowski, in recent memory, only plays brilliantly against us, and that's it. I've said it. I'd have Nunes over Gakpo. At least he's unpredictable. Yeah, well, that is true. We should have never sold Diaz. 1,000% agree. Yeah, absolutely agree. But like the problem is with Luis Diaz, he wanted to go. He wanted to go for months. Well, not even months, years. He wanted to go for 18 months. The whole Man City thing and the whole Man City deal. And then Bayern Munich coming around, there was no way that was going to pass, and he wasn't going to move. The problem is we didn't replace him, and that's the big problem with it as well. He wanted out though, yeah, exactly. That's the problem. He wanted a big contract, and Liverpool didn't want to give it to him, so he wanted to leave, and that's fair enough. And again, he gave Liverpool 12 months more than what again he was supposed to. Really, and look, now you can see the difference. Yes, he was frustrating that again Lucho, like we said, if Lucho could finish, he'd be a £200 million player, because what he did off the ball, again, we've missed it this season and been a primary example of, again, players on and off the ball. It's so important. And again, that's just how it is at the minute. But I feel more of it was his family pushing for him to leave as well. Well, do you remember the Barcelona links every 2 days? That was annoying. Man U having one of their best seasons and sacking their managers. Well, it's one of their. It's quite funny, isn't it? It's one of our worst ever's, and it's one of their bests. It goes to show where the two clubs are at the minute. But no, look, the Ruben Amorim stuff. Look, I'm not surprised by it. If you listen to people like Mark Goldbridge called it, a month ago, where he said, like, look, they're going to sack Ruben Amorim and they're going to bring in Darren Fletcher. And now we know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be the caretaker manager again at United, which is hilarious, by the way, because I can already see it now. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets Man United top 5, because I don't think they finished top 4. But if he gets Champions League football, or even Europa League at this point, they will want to keep him in yet again. They will, and that's how it goes, and that's how they've operated, and it's laughable. And again, I understand where people come from a little bit, where we talk about Arne Slot's future and so on, and it's like we don't want to turn like Manchester United, and I 100% agree with that as well. And this is why, again, if the club think it's right, again, maybe in the summer. Right now, I don't think it's right, but I think in the summer, if they evaluate everything and go, maybe we need to look at everything. If Enrique is available, of course, there's the conversation of Pep not being. He could be going, might not be going. Again, it would be an opportunity for Liverpool to go and get one of the best managers in world football. And yeah, if that opportunity is available, I think Liverpool would take it. Because I said to you guys, Enrique or Nagelsmann, they are the top two for me. That I'd want at the club if they were to find a new manager at the club. But pick up Mike as well, saying we're only top four because we had the easiest run of games you could possibly imagine, and all of the other teams around us were complete and give it a couple more weeks and we'll be outside the top four. Yeah, this is why performances need to improve. I just expect us to get a grip and turn it around. I hope the same, Mark. I absolutely hope the same. But at the minute, it's a bit meh at the minute, isn't it? It's a bit skeptical at the minute. But yeah, Mike, that's why we're panicking now as well. Yeah, true. That is true. When we were losing 6 games out of 7, we had a full squad, so those are excuses. True. I think the bit more concerning one as well, and this is away from obviously the article, the stuff we've spoken about tonight, but Alexis McAllister, Maka spoke about, didn't he, about how there's been so much change at the club behind the scenes as well, and about how they changed a lot of things in the summer, obviously alluding to obviously the transfers, and it was stuff that he didn't like, that he said he's not going to speak about, but there is stuff that he doesn't like about what's happened over the last couple of months. And I wonder what it is in particular. Look, Alexis McAllister last season for me was one of the best midfielders in Europe. But this season, he has been awful, and he has been awful. And there's the conversation of maybe Liverpool might sell him in the summer to obviously then go and get, the next midfielder they want. But the problem with Maka, I think as well, is again, if Arne Slot does stay on as Liverpool manager, I think Slot is going to start phasing him out a little bit, because again, what he'll potentially want in the midfield. But I think again, Maka is still useful for Liverpool, but even in games like now, for example, if we have Ekitike available, I don't want McAllister in the midfield. Like, if you're going to say what's Liverpool's best midfield three, for me all season it's been Grav, Dom, and Wirtz, because again, I want to see Florian Wirtz playing in a midfield, not on the left. But if you are going to play him on the left, Curtis Jones is ahead of McAllister at the minute. Again, Maka has gone from being the number one Liverpool midfielder to probably the 4th or 5th. If we're going to include Wirtz, again, you've got Wirtz, Szoboszlai, Jones, Gravenberch, and then the McAllister. That's he's 5th in the pecking order. And that's a massive drop off compared to last year, where I think all of us was like Maka's the first name on the team sheet, even ahead of Dom. And I've seen people already, obviously from the game a couple of days ago, going on about Dom. Like, again, Dom's playing out of position. Like, Dom is this season he's best when he's playing in midfield, not as a right mid. Like, again, and you watch Dom press, there's nobody with him pressing, and that's the frustration at the frustrating thing at the minute with Liverpool is we don't press. We're not good at pressing, and that's down to Arne Slot. It's down to the setup. It's down to the coaches, and yes, the players are obviously the ones pressing, but still. You look at Don, you look at Hugo as well, running until they're out of their last breath, and I look at the rest and like they're taking so long to step up. I was like, we wouldn't do that a couple of years ago. It'd be all over the pitch. But that's the big concern I have at the minute. More than anything is the fact that we don't press. we don't press whatsoever. But what else do we have? Our players don't seem to step up on the pitch and go for the win. It looks like we just want to see the game through. Yeah, and that's the big concern as well. Put the contract on the table now as well. Well, absolutely. I have said it before. We miss a leader on the pitch as well. Yeah. I would agree with that in some sense. I love Good Guy. I like that name. Liverpool needed a new fitness coach like we had under Klopp. Andres was very impressive. He was. But also, yeah, I would agree with that 100%. But I also look at it, and again, I don't know obviously the specific stats, but I know our pressing metrics are awful compared to what they was 2 seasons ago. Or even last season, I think they were awful compared to what they are now. Or they're awful now in comparison to what it was last year. But again, what do you put that down to? Do you put it down to mentality? Do you put it down, again, to coaching? There's different variants and different topics that you would talk about it as well. I think obviously the first one will be Slot and the coaching staff, but also again we don't have runners in the team. You've got Dom, who's again will run all over the pitch. Ekitike tries his best. Cody's not a presser whatsoever. But again, when you've got two very good players that can do that, i.e. Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz, again, you notice it. And that's the thing. We massively notice it. And look, people will go on about Mo Salah and his running and so on, and again Liverpool get beaten down the right hand side when Salah was in the team and so on. Look, we miss Mohamed Salah at the minute, and it's noticeable. Because shock when you play, when you take out one of the, you're missing quite a lot as well. But yeah, it's a pain in the arse in the minute, isn't it? And I'm not looking forward to Thursday whatsoever. Big up Ian as well saying, I think technical director should offer transparency and come to the for interviews as well. Technical director, who's our technical director? Again, Michael Edwards. A set piece coach was recently sacked. I'd say we're struggling with many behind the scenes positions as well. Again, yeah, that's true. I feel sorry for him though. Again, we spoke about it, didn't we? About how it's on shorts as well. How Aaron Briggs was unfortunate. Again, he was only brought in to be head of development, I think it was, off the top of my head. Again, was brought in this season. Obviously, he was already in the door, but was given the opportunity to be set piece coach. Of course, it's gone horrific when we are the worst team conceding as well. And look, the funny thing is, Arne Slot guy for set pieces is currently still at Vinod. He was going to come with Arne Slot. He was going to be a part of the coaching team, but he couldn't get a work permit for some reason. Again, the club didn't really go into it. But yeah, as far as we know, he can get a work permit and is still at Vinod because Slot spoke about him, was it 2 weeks ago in the press conference, saying he's still doing an amazing job at Vinod as well. So, maybe Liverpool might try and get him again, but I doubt it, really. But Alisson seems to have a mistake in him every game this season too. Yeah, like the Fulham game, look, Ali with his feet is normally reliable, but there was 2 or 3 times where he slipped or made an odd pass, and it's with I think the whole team though, isn't it? The whole team is kind of like a nervous wreck at the minute because Fulham that last minute again conceding, Spurs away from home we looked terrible, Sunderland the last couple of minutes we looked awful. The game is like this for Liverpool. First 5 minutes is back and forth. Then from the 5th minute to about the 20th minute, Liverpool are on top, or like Liverpool look like they're on top. Then after the 20th minute till half time, Liverpool are crap. Liverpool then start the second half quite decent for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then the rest of the game shite. And then in specific, from the 85th minute onwards, we just fall apart. And that's our season in entirety. Apart from the first 5 games of the season where we just kept on scoring winning goals, that's it. Apart from that, the rest of this season, going into the latter stages of games, we've been awful, like god awful. And that's a mentality thing. It's not, again, because Arne Slot spoke about how this season Liverpool have ridden their luck, in terms of good and bad. And look, the first 5 games of the season, Liverpool score, was it 4 after 4 goals after the 85th minute, to win the games, of course, and that's a bit of luck. But since that Palace game, where we conceded late against Palace, then we conceded late against Chelsea, it's that was the tip of the iceberg to what we've seen, as well. Oh, you mean sporting director? Okay. Well, Richard Hughes won't do that. Ian, to be fair, probably he should do. And look, Richard Hughes, there'll be conversations, I think, about the summer purchase, and even though, look, all of us wanted to get, the likes of Isak, Ekitike, Frimpong, Wirtz, we all wanted them in the summer, and even when the summer was over, we all thought, when the window closed, like, Liverpool had a 10 out of 10 window, but okay, maybe not a 10 out of 10 because we didn't get a centre back or a left winger, but we thought it was in the high numbers in terms of 8s and 9s. But even still, it's not worked out, And look, I think the majority of the Liverpool signings will be successful? Yes, I think Ekitike has already proven that. I think when Isak does come back, I think he will be a success. Wirtz, I think, will be an absolute superstar, because, again, the narrative is, oh, well, he hasn't got much GA. Watch the games. He dictates them, and he is the best player on the pitch for Liverpool in terms of going forward and creatively. Again, we've said it multiple times. The last 7 games, he's got 4 man of the matches. Like, he's now finding his stride in the Premier League. And again, when media or certain rival fans will go, oh, well, he hasn't got a goal or assist in that. It's like, did Kevin De Bruyne get a goal week in, week out for City? No. Like, again, did De Bruyne do amazing things at City? Yes, of course he did. And he did finally go and score like 17, 18 goals in a season. But again, it's Wirtz's first season at the club. Again, Liverpool being terrible. Like, if we were a brilliant Liverpool side, it was free-flowing and, pretty much the last season, again, Wirtz would be up there in the numbers. And again, if there was, Isak taking his chances, if Salah taking his chances, Wirtz would already be on like 5-6 assists this season, quite easily. I think the signings will be amazing in the future. Problem is, we're living in the now. Exactly. As well. Will Ekitike be back for the Arsenal game? No. No. Hugo will not be back for that. The big one, don't take this from me, but the Liverpool doctor or the Liverpool physio department, somebody plays FPL, and somebody sold. They found her on Twitter. Again, I don't know how they did it, but a reliable FPL account that lets everybody know in terms of team news, said that a Liverpool physio has sold Ekitike for Thiago. So does that mean anything? Not really, but reading between the lines, it probably means that he's either on the bench or he's not going to feature, which I would probably go for the latter, because again, it didn't sound good from what Arne Slot said about them having the scan, and yeah, they couldn't risk him because he's played so much football as well, which is true. Like he's played a ridiculous amount of football over the last couple of weeks and months. But yeah, we have to obviously make sure that he's fit and healthy long term rather than short term, really. Anyway, but look, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway on the Rio Ngumoha stuff and the Richard Hughes and obviously the Arne Slot bit as well. You know, in terms of there being a civil war at the club. Again, it looks like Liverpool not going to sign anyone in January, judging from the news that is coming out of the club, unless obviously Manchester City going with Mark Gahey. Will Mark Gahey go to Manchester City? That's the big question mark. For me, look, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go to Manchester City because, again, you know, the Man City project under Pep Guardiola, it's an attractive prospect. But would I like Mark Gahey at Liverpool? 1000%. I would not want, again, I wouldn't want us to waste all the time that we have in trying to obviously recruit Mark Gahey to then go, oh yeah, no, we don't want him. Like, no, 100% Liverpool want him at the club. Will they get him at the club? Who knows? Because again, Fabrizio Romano spoke about how Liverpool are there or thereabouts if Man City do try and go for him. The plan is to get him for free. But I'm sorry, stop waiting around. When we talk about Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, stop waiting around. Go and get him. Go and put £20 million on the table. Go and put £15 million on the table. Just make an offer to, or at least go and get him. Stop with the whole teasing of allowing Manchester City in the door. And like, go and get your man. Go and get Mark Gahey over the line. Because again, Liverpool need a centre half, and also the fact that, you know, again, Canate is not that good at the minute. Go and get him so Van Dijk can have a bit of, you know, again, company on that side anyway, or at least, you know, a partner that can actually defend as well. But yeah, that's just my opinion anyway. What else do we have? What kind of game we expecting on Thursday? A battering. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Thursday. A very hard game, yes, very hard game. Another Dom free kick winner, but it's the only shot on target. It could be at this point. It could very well be, especially with no Hugo Ekitike. It could very well be the only shot of the game for Liverpool anyway. But look, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway down in the comments. I will reply back to everyone that does watch on the repeat as well. Thank you for everyone for tuning in to the live. I thought we'd do a live show tonight, talking about obviously the, you know, a bit on, you know, the Slot and Hughes situation, and, you know, get your guys' thoughts on it. I'll speak to you mainly because we haven't really done any live shows as well over the last couple of weeks, so I do apologize for that. But hopefully we'll do a couple of more throughout the weeks as well. Get your guys' thoughts on stuff and other bits and bobs as well. I was thinking as well, not only just for this, because we do Liverpool content, and of course I'm a Liverpool fan, but a supporter, but wanted to kind of maybe do football content as well. Not on this channel, it would be on a different channel. So if you guys would want to see us talk about general football, like again Premier League, La Liga, obviously with the World Cup coming up as well, I was thinking about it, but if anyone would be interested, obviously do let me know down in the comments. But obviously nothing would change here. We would obviously mainly do, you know, this is the main focus then, really. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. But yeah, we need these live shows gone, get the lads together, talk about the weather, etc. after the, yeah, absolutely. No, we will do. I'll try and see if I can get people on for Friday. We'll try and talk about the absolute mess that will be Thursday night anyway. But look, hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Tuesdays anyway, and if I don't see you in the next one, then screw you. No, I'm joking, obviously. But hopefully you guys have a good rest of your days. I've been Connor from the Cop Council. I'll see you guys a bit later on. Ta-ra.